Shedeur Sanders. Not injured. Just not playing. And suddenly, the Cleveland Browns' season opener wasn't about football anymore. It was about why the most talked about rookie quarterback in the NFL, yes, the Shedeur Sanders, was watching from the sideline in a hoodie instead of a helmet. No warning. No report. Just a quiet name on the inactive list. And within seconds, fans lost it. Twitter went full DEFCON 1. The Browns' Instagram comment section, a war zone. Sports radio lines, jammed. What's going on with Shedeur turned into, what is this franchise doing?
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Because here's the thing, this wasn't just a rookie. This was a movement. This was the kid with the Nike deal before he threw a single NFL pass. The guy with Deion's DNA and his own swagger. The media darling who brought college crowds to their feet, flipped narratives, and gave the Browns something they haven't had in years. Hope. And then, without warning, he's sidelined? For no football reason? Cue the conspiracy theories. Some said it was a strategic move, that the Browns wanted to ease him in and not throw him to the wolves. Others said it was punishment. Maybe he missed a meeting. Maybe he posted something ownership didn't like. A few even floated the idea that the team wanted to humble him, to remind him that no one is bigger than the brand. But let's be real, this didn't feel strategic. It felt personal. It felt political. You don't promote a rookie quarterback as the face of your franchise all offseason, billboards, promos, national interviews, and then bench him without warning unless something is boiling behind the scenes. And if you've been paying attention, you know it's been simmering for weeks. Kevin Stefanski hasn't exactly been subtle in his preference for Dillon Gabriel, the safer pick, the system guy, the one who follows the script. But Shedeur writes the script. And that's a problem in a league still run by coaches and execs who don't know what to do with players who shine outside of the playbook and the press conference. Because Shedeur isn't just talented. He's visible. He's got the camera presence, the fashion, the quotes, the fan base. And that kind of magnetism, it makes old-school football minds nervous. Because it's power. And power in the hands of a 22-year-old rookie with a million-watt smile and a $10 million shoe deal? That doesn't sit well in traditional locker rooms. So yeah, maybe it wasn't a pulled hamstring. Maybe it was a pulled ego. Someone's power trip to remind the kid who's really in charge. And let's talk about that timing. The Browns had a prime opportunity to launch a new era. Season opener, divisional rival. All eyes on Cincinnati. This was supposed to be Shedeur's moment. The debut. The first chapter. The next-gen quarterback stepping onto the field to shift the franchise's narrative. Instead, he was on the sideline, helmet off, face blank, trying not to let the cameras catch whatever was really going through his head. Meanwhile, the Browns' offense? Stagnant, predictable, mechanical. The same old check-down circus that's defined their identity for years. And while the fans were booing the play calling, you could practically feel the questions rising in the air like fog off Lake Erie. Would Shedeur have made that throw? Would he have extended that play? Why isn't he out there? It wasn't just about missing a quarterback. It was about missing the moment. And here's where it gets deeper. This situation isn't just about a game day decision. It's about the larger cultural tension rippling through the NFL right now. The clash between traditional football hierarchy and the modern athlete's media machine. Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's a brand, a symbol of where this league is headed, personality, presence, and power off the field as much as on it. And not everyone likes that. There are coaches who still believe rookies should earn it quietly. That leadership is built through silence and humility. But Shedeur? He's been leading for years. In stadiums that doubted him. In programs that needed a spark. Under pressure, most of these veterans never had to face. And he didn't just lead, he thrived. So when the Browns made the choice to sideline him, it didn't feel like strategy. It felt like suppression, like someone trying to put a lid on a boiling pot, hoping the pressure would just magically go away. Spoiler alert, it didn't. In fact, it might have made things worse. Because now, the locker room is asking questions. Players see the work Shedeur puts in. They see the talent, the calm, the control, the readiness. And when that guy gets benched without a reason, it shakes trust. It creates a divide. Veterans start wondering who's really making the decisions and what the motives are. And the fans? Oh, they're not forgetting this. Not when they've waited years for a quarterback they could believe in. Not when they finally had a jersey to buy that wasn't outdated by week 5. Not when the stadium was buzzing with the kind of hope that only comes around once in a generation. This wasn't just a missed debut. It was a missed opportunity. Now, does this mean Shedeur's career is doomed? Absolutely not. If anything, this setback adds another layer to his story. It makes his eventual rise even more compelling. Because if we know anything about Sanders, it's that he doesn't stay sidelined for long. He's not just waiting for a shot. He's forcing the issue. Every practice rep, every team meeting, every second in the film room, he's building his case. Not with drama, but with discipline. Not with ego, but with effort. And when that next chance comes, it won't be quiet. It'll be a storm. Because this isn't a guy who gets bitter. He gets better. And every setback he's faced so far has only sharpened the blade. So while the Browns juggle their politics and play it safe, they're sitting on a gold mine that's growing more explosive by the week. The longer Shedeur stays inactive, the louder the questions get. The more obvious the cracks become. And eventually, something's gotta give. Either the Browns embrace the future, or they watch it walk away. Because let's be honest, Shedeur doesn't need this franchise to succeed. But they desperately need him. And if they don't figure that out soon, they'll be the footnote in a Hall of Fame story that started in a hoodie on a bench during a game that should have been legendary. Stay tuned. The weird part? It wasn't just Browns fans who were upset. By halftime, the Shedeur situation had eclipsed the actual game. ESPN was circling it. Commentators kept referencing his absence like it was an elephant in the broadcast booth. This offense looks like it could use a spark, someone like Shedeur Sanders, they said, tiptoeing around the real question everyone was asking. What are they hiding? Because let's be honest, if it was injury-related, they would have said that. If it was about performance, they would have pointed to the preseason stats. But the silence? The weirdly polished team statements? That's what fueled the fire. And suddenly, the Browns weren't just a football team. They were a mystery. A PR disaster. A franchise that somehow turned its most exciting asset into a punchline overnight. And here's where things get even messier. Nike was watching. Yeah, that Nike. The same brand that dropped a massive rookie deal on Shedeur like he was the next LeBron of the gridiron. They'd already printed limited edition merch. Social campaigns were cued. Product drops were timed with his first start. And now, all of that's in limbo. Because someone in the Browns building decided that today wasn't his day. If you don't think that's a problem, you haven't been paying attention to how modern sports work. Brands aren't just sponsors, they're stakeholders. You don't sign a deal like Shedeur's and sit in the shadows. You're meant to be on the field, front and center, high def, prime time. This wasn't just a coaching decision, it was a business fumble. A missed connection between football logic and media empire. And Shedeur? He's stuck in the middle of it. Here's a guy who's done everything right, put in the work, stayed out of trouble, led by example. And somehow he's the one paying the price for other people's politics? You could feel the tide turning. NFL veterans started weighing in. Players tweeting cryptic free to messages. Former pros calling out the move on sports talk shows. Even Shedeur's college teammates were chiming in with side-eye emojis and subtle shots. Because they know who he is. They know what kind of competitor he is. What kind of teammate. What kind of threat he poses to the status quo. And maybe that's what this whole thing really is, a response to fear. Let's be honest. Shedeur walks into a room and it shifts. He walks onto a field and defenders adjust. He's not just another rookie. He's a presence. And that scares people. Especially in a league that still wants its quarterbacks humble, quiet, and easy to control. But Shedeur? He doesn't play small to make other people comfortable. He's not trying to blend in with the clipboard-holding backups or the wait-your-turn rookies. He's trying to lead. Right now. And apparently, that's the problem. You want another wrinkle? Let's talk about the locker room. Sources, whispers, anonymous quotes, side texts from league insiders are starting to suggest this isn't just a Shedeur versus Stefanski thing. There's a divide forming. On one side, veterans who see the bigger picture. Guys who know the team needs a spark and fast. Players who watched him carve up the defense in practice, throw lasers during scrimmages, and command the offense like a 5-year vet. These guys want to win, and they don't care how flashy the QB is if he moves the chains. On the other side, traditionalists, coaches, quiet players who don't like all the noise. They think Shedeur's social media, his brand, his celebrity, it's all a distraction. They want discipline, not documentaries. They want process, not prime time. And that's where things get dangerous. Because when a locker room splits on the quarterback question, everything else crumbles. Culture, chemistry, cohesion, gone. And all of it because someone, somewhere, decided Shedeur's time hadn't come yet. But maybe the most shocking part? Shedeur hasn't said a word. No tweets. No interviews. No cryptic Instagram story like some other athletes would drop. He's letting the silence speak. Letting the fans rage on his behalf. Letting the play, when he gets the chance, do the talking. That's not immaturity. That's strategy. He knows the cameras are coming back. He knows the reporters will swarm when the Browns eventually try to pivot and give him the start. And when they do, he'll have all the leverage. Because now it's not just a debut, it's a redemption arc. Now the fans need it. The league wants it. The media is starving for it. And when Shedeur finally steps on that field, every snap is going to hit differently. Every completion will carry extra weight. Every touchdown, a receipt cashed in full. And if you're Kevin Stefanski, that's the nightmare scenario. Because how do you manage a team when the quarterback holds every card? How do you justify the benching when your starter throws 2 picks and the entire stadium is chanting someone else's name? How do you pretend this was part of the plan when your own fan base starts calling for your job? It's not just a quarterback controversy. It's a cultural rebellion. The NFL is changing, whether they like it or not. Old models are collapsing. The days of keeping stars in the shadows until they're ready are over. Fans want transparency. They want access. They want athletes who are real, vocal, and visible. And Shedeur? He's the prototype. So what's next? Do the Browns lean into the future or cling to the past? Do they let Shedeur cook or keep him boxed in because of some imaginary timeline? Because here's the truth that no one in that building wants to say out loud. You can only delay destiny for so long. The fans see it. The league sees it. The money sees it. And soon enough, the Browns will have to decide. Do they let this kid change the game? Or do they become the cautionary tale? The franchise that had the next big thing and buried him in the inactive column? One thing's for sure, Shedeur Sanders isn't going anywhere. And if you thought benching him would silence the hype, you just made it louder. By Monday morning, Cleveland wasn't just hungover from a disappointing season opener. It was boiling over. Local sports talk shows abandoned game recaps altogether. The score almost didn't matter anymore. It was all Shedeur, all the time. Even the morning traffic report on one station casually dropped, Shedeur Watch, Day 2. Like this was a hostage crisis instead of a quarterback benching. And the craziest part? Even people who don't care about football were talking about it. This wasn't just a sports story anymore. It was a culture story. It was about celebrity, control, and the kind of uncomfortable questions that most NFL franchises would rather sweep under the rug. Like, who actually controls the Cleveland Browns? Because here's something a lot of fans didn't realize. The decision to bench Shedeur didn't just blindside fans. It reportedly blindsided ownership. Multiple sources close to the team, and by sources, we mean the cousins and barbers of Browns employees who have been very busy on Reddit, claimed the front office had no idea the kid wasn't going to be active until just hours before kickoff. And that's where the tension really starts to bubble. We're not just dealing with a controversial coaching decision anymore. We're staring down a full-blown power struggle. Ownership wants ratings, relevance, and revenue. The coaching staff wants control. And in the middle of it all, a 21-year-old quarterback who just wants to play football and is being used like a chess piece in a battle way above his pay grade. You could feel it in the building. Reporters at practice said the vibes were tense, which is NFL speak for people are definitely yelling behind closed doors. Veteran players didn't stick around after film sessions. A few even canceled media availability altogether. Everyone's walking on eggshells because no one wants to be the first person to say it. But here's the truth, they're all dancing around. This isn't sustainable. You can't have your most marketable, most exciting, and arguably most talented player sitting on the bench without giving anyone, inside or outside the building, a clear reason why. Because every day he sits, more people start to ask the same thing. Is this really about football anymore? Or is this about fear? Fear that Shedeur is bigger than the playbook. Fear that his style is confidence, his persona challenges the way this league, and this specific coaching staff, is used to doing things. And maybe, just maybe, fear that once he starts, you can't go back. Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't the first time a flashy rookie threatened the old way of doing things. Look at what happened with Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, even early career Russell Wilson. These were guys who didn't fit neatly into the NFL's safe little quarterback box, and every single one of them faced a mountain of doubt, resistance, and weirdly personal criticism. And what did they do? They won. They electrified. They sold jerseys, filled stadiums, and changed offenses forever. Shedeur? He's cut from that same cloth, but with one major difference. He came into the league with brand power most rookies don't develop until year 5. This isn't just about a quarterback who wants to start. This is about a quarterback who could change the balance of power in an NFL franchise. And for a head coach like Kevin Stefanski, a guy who's had to fight for every inch of job security in Cleveland, that kind of player is both a dream and a threat. Let's be real. If Shedeur starts and wins, it's his team now. The cameras follow him. The fans chant his name. He becomes the face of the franchise, not Stefanski, not the GM, not anyone else. And if he starts and loses, well, Stefanski's still probably getting fired. So maybe the logic goes, better to slow play the kid than hitch your career to a rookie quarterback with a spotlight the size of Texas. But here's the catch. The longer you stall, the worse it gets. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't going to fade. He's not going to get discouraged and disappear. He's not built like that. You think growing up as Deion Sanders' son didn't teach him how to handle pressure? You think transferring schools, stepping into media frenzies, taking criticism daily on every platform, and still performing didn't forge his steel? This is what he does. Pressure isn't a threat. It's fuel. And while the Browns are busy having meetings about narrative control, Shedeur is quietly stacking reasons to start. He's winning over the locker room. One rep, one throw, one no-look dime at a Wednesday walkthrough at a time. The coaches know it. The players know it. And most importantly, he knows it. And when that moment comes, when he finally takes the field and that stadium roars louder than it has in a decade, it won't be just a debut. It'll be a revolution. Because the Browns aren't just deciding whether to start a rookie QB. They're deciding whether to evolve or stay stuck in a cycle that's buried more quarterbacks than any team in the last 20 years. And fans? They're watching very closely. Every delay, every vague answer in a press conference, every snap taken by someone not named Shedeur is a reminder that this franchise has a choice, and they're running out of time to make the right one. Because guess what? Other teams are watching too. There are franchises who wish they had a player like Shedeur on their bench. GMs who would kill for a quarterback with his arm, his mind, his presence. You don't think a team like the Falcons or Raiders would pick up the phone tomorrow if Shedeur's camp even hinted at a trade? And you don't think Nike or the networks or the fans would follow? Let's not get it twisted. Shedeur doesn't owe the Browns loyalty. He chose to be part of this rebuild. He bought into the vision. He accepted the challenge. But loyalty's a two-way street. And right now, Cleveland isn't holding up its end of the deal. So yeah, the Shedeur benching is about football. But it's also about respect. It's about trust. It's about who gets to decide the future of a franchise, the guys in suits or the guys who show up when it matters. And if the Browns don't figure that out soon, they're not just going to lose games. They're going to lose the moment. And in today's NFL, that's something you don't come back from.